Yep. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see this. All right, you guys can see the presentation, okay? All right, so yeah, welcome everyone. At Civic, we provide a tokenized identity platform, digital identity platform. I'm going to walk through a quick introduction of what we do, the products that we offer, the solutions that you can take inspiration from, and some use cases. And then after that, as I said, Dan will walk you through um, a demo, an example implementation, and a few how-tos from a code perspective. But before we do that, a little bit about Civic. So we're going to walk through what tokenized identity is, about us, about our ID system, Civic Pass, some use cases, and then we'll talk about getting started with the tools that we offer. So a little primer on tokenized identity. This is a method that leverages blockchain technology to essentially authenticate, create, manage digital identities through issuance of credentials represented by tokens inside a person's wallet. Those tokens are soulbound, so they cannot be transferred, and they have a state that tells you something about that particular pass that was issued. Those tokens are unique, that they uniquely identify an individual or entity's credentials, and that enables secure and decentralized identity verification, composability, all those benefits that come with blockchain. Now, we offer tokenized identity as a service as a company. We've been around for, I think at this point, 8+ years. We essentially, through us, you can define access requirements such as age, location, identity documents, proof of personhood, as well as more custom verifiable credentials. And then our identity tools work for both consumers and apps. We have APIs, we have SDKs, and as coming soon, physical ID cards. We're trusted by ecosystem leaders. We have use cases with Gitcoin inside the Solana ecosystem as well, with Polygon, with Realms, Honeyland, Metaplex, Rarimo, Unique VC, and Cubic, just to name a few. In total, we've worked with over 570 projects to date. Now, a little bit about the Civic ID ecosystem and the digital identity platform. It essentially encompasses Civic passes that are verifiable credentials, the representation of tokenized identity, and consent condition data sharing in our ecosystem. So passes enable you to verify people with their consent and also get underlying, for example, government identity document information as it is scanned and sent back to the relying party. And then underlying the Civic passes, there are a number of developer tools that we offer. Then we'll talk more about that, how to interact with the passes, both from a front end, back end, and on-chain perspective. So libraries and APIs. So Civic passes, as I mentioned, they're essentially an identity and access management solution for smart contracts, dApps, Web2 and Web3 companies to filter out, for example, bad actors in case like you want to protect against bots or Sybil attacks, or make sure you are compliant with local regulations, keeping out certain geographies that are restricted, or making sure you only sell to a specific type of person. It is really easy to integrate. Our libraries and our endpoints are super straightforward. The documentation is there to help you. Our team is there to help you with our Discord channel, where you have direct connection with the developer team. And if you have more advanced use cases that are that require dedicated API endpoint, then we also have enterprise-ready solutions for your deployments. We've issued over 920,000 passes to date, between captcha and uniqueness mostly, and liveness. You'll see more about what these passes mean, but you can see like we're gaining more and more traction. These are shared networks. You can benefit from the reusability of these passes if you choose to use the public networks, and then the network is growing every day. For this specific call, it's very important. We're on Solana for all our passes, but we also cover a lot of EVMs in the ecosystem, so more integrations also coming soon. We have a two methods of deploying, as I mentioned, to benefit from their usability. There's a concept of a public pass, where you can go and request the keys right from the docs and get started right away. You benefit from the entire ecosystem that way. But for the more specific use cases where you do need some customization, there's also an opportunity to have a private pass network, which restricts people to your separate pass group, essentially, that has your own restrictions. Like it could be restrictions around age, it can be restrictions around where the person is from, where the identity document is from. It can be a combination of identity and uniqueness, for example, put together. So it's very flexible for us to configure those parameters. It's just a matter of like understanding your use case, how you want to verify your user's identity, what process you need to go through, and all that. And yeah, with the second option, there's a lot more like dashboard metrics that we can share for people who are managing that pass. All right. Let's look at some use case examples. So where is this helpful? Obviously, like with the levels of verification and security requirements based on the use case in gaming and GameFi, we've seen companies like Honeyland use it to ensure the players are real people and unique. So nobody's going in and creating thousands of wallets to collect rewards or farm whatever tokens are being issued and ruin the game experience for everyone. For DeFi, this is a place where you can gate services with ID verification. You can also implement one person, one wallet, especially if you're giving out rewards in the DeFi space. You can restrict specific countries like the OFAC lists. Like, for example, if you want to keep out US customers, this is a good way to do it in a privacy preserving way. For communities and DAOs, same thing like the games. You want to prevent Sybil attacks or spam or voter fraud, bot manipulation. You want to verify members. Civic can offer you an easy, straightforward way to do that. For real world assets, similar to decentralized finance, you can verify identity on chain, you can prevent fraud, you can ensure compliance with regulations, collect that underlying user PII, so the personal information, and essentially make sure that the assets go to only verified individuals. And let's see, close these. For general smart contract development, I think this is a very composable tool that we've built from a like smart contract verification perspective. Once you've integrated the pass check, then you can use it for virtually any kind of use case that requires some sort of whitelisting, some sort of gating for the mechanism that you've put in place. And last but not least, for people building Web3 wallets, this could be a secure way to prevent fraud at a wallet level. So whenever somebody's sending, for example, a large transaction out of their wallet, you could implement a uniqueness check to make sure that that person that initially signed up and is using the wallet is still the same person. So like not somebody else took control of their wallet and now essentially they're trying to drain that particular wallet. And we can also prevent wallet usage in certain geographies if you're offering rewards that shouldn't be available in certain spaces. So, what are the pass types that we offer? So I mentioned for the use cases like bot Sybil protection, you can check basically bot not bot with a captcha pass or with a liveness test. The liveness test is a biometrics video test. And then a step up from that could be the uniqueness pass, where essentially we derive a face map from the video itself, which we then use to check whether that person has signed up before in an encrypted way. For identity and age verification, we rely on the government issued ID. We verify that ID. That is also combined with a liveness check by default to ensure there's no fraudsters trying to get through the system with like fake generated IDs. From there, you can derive the age of the person. You can make sure that only ID verified people, for example, have access without even looking at the personal information. And then the third option is you can also get the personal information from the verified government ID with the pass issuance. And then last but not least, for the enterprise compliance rules on chain, we have an API where you can essentially issue, revoke, modify passes via REST API, which is extremely straightforward. To integrate these passes, Dan will show you more, but there's a UI component for verification and issuance. There's like essentially JavaScript libraries that you can use, as well as a smart contract method to integrate on-chain and gate those actions that you need to gate for your smart contract. So yeah, that's it from my end. If there are any questions, we can pause here for like maybe a minute or two and see if there's any questions I can answer. If not, then I'll give the floor to Dan and take it right from there. Dan, over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Titus, for the intro. So yeah, super team in Philippines. It's great to talk to you guys. I haven't spoken to you guys before. It's lovely to see you here. I'm going to go into some code and show you how to integrate Civic Pass into your Web3 apps. You can kind of think of it like adding like an auth platform, right? Adding something like Clerk or Auth0. It's a little widget that you add to your app, but it then will give your app the information that Civic Pass knows about the user that's connected. So the user connects the wallet, and then it will say this user is over 18, or this user is a unique individual, or this user has gone through a KYC process, and so on. So that's the sort of developer experience you should expect. While I'm just getting set up here and while I'm talking, I want to know just how many like people in the chat are developers. How many people so you can just type in the chat if you wouldn't mind, just like if you're a developer, and if so, what type of developer you are, whether you're more familiar with like front end, Next.js, React, whether you've worked with Solana smart contracts before using something like Anchor, whether you're a JavaScript developer or Rust developer. That would just help me to kind of gauge the level of detail I need to go into. So just pop in the chat if you can while I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, we've got some full stack, non-smart contracts. That sounds familiar. I'll check back in on that chat in a moment. I'm going to show you what we're aiming for here. So first of all, as I mentioned, it's a kind of a drop-in widget that you add to your app. And here's like a place where you can test it out yourselves. Check getpass.civic.com. I'd love to be able to bring the chat up here as well. I can send it to you, but I'm sure Titus will send a link. So this is kind of like our dashboard for letting you test it. I've currently connected my wallet, and I've selected this particular use case that Titus mentioned of uniqueness. So this pass only exists if I have verified that I'm a unique individual. More accurately, I can't get this particular pass on two wallets at once. So I have a pass on this wallet, and it's marking me as active. And if I click on this, it brings up this little widget saying my Civic Pass is active. If I go to a different wallet for 1 second, let me switch to a different wallet. Whoops, clicked on the wrong button. Sorry there. Okay, if I switch to a different wallet, excuse me, I have to go back in here and go to DevNet. And it'll say get verified here. And this is the sort of experience you'd have on your app as well. And if you click on this, then it will go through the steps. I won't go through the entire steps now. Actually, I'll just show the relevant part, which is a scan of my face. This is how we do the particular uniqueness pass side of things. So we have a biometric face scan to make sure that you're a unique individual. The reason why I won't go through the whole thing is because it will fail, right? It'll fail because I already have a pass on a different wallet, but I just wanted to show you what it looked like. So this is what it looks like, basically. That's me. And actually, it will fail here as well because I'm sharing my screen, and it doesn't like it if you're also sharing your screen. That's a security check. But I'll just show you. See, there's a kind of liveness feature going on. I think now it'll tell me that because I'm sharing. Okay, it doesn't mind when Zoom shares a screen. That's interesting. In a moment, it will tell me that I'm. Yeah, okay, there we go. So this is the kind of security mechanism that makes sure that you can't get a pass on more than one wallet. So we're going to basically add this to our app. And again, if you want to follow along, there's a few links I want to send out. The first one is docs.civic.com, and that's where you can see the integration details. We're going to mostly focus on the UI integration. Actually, let me check back in on the chat. Okay, we've got some more Web3 people. Okay. I think probably we're going to focus mostly on the UI integration today, but there is also information here on the on-chain integration. If we have time, then I'll talk about that as well. More in-depth demos are available here at this site, Civic Pass demos. There's a link to it in the docs as well. And here you can see examples for Solana and Ethereum on Next.js apps and Vite apps. And what we're essentially going to build is a little demo app that looks like this. So this is going to be an airdrop. So a simple airdrop app that once you've got a pass, you can get a token. Actually, I've already started off like a dummy version of this here. And in this dummy version, I'm going to connect my wallet. In this dummy version, I don't have Civic Pass integrated yet. So I think if I have everything set up correctly in localhost, I should be able to click this, and congratulations, I have a token. Yeah, something's moved around CSS-wise here, but I've got a token. In other words, I've claimed this airdrop. And actually, if I disconnect this wallet and then join on a different wallet, so go back to my other wallet and join on it. Whoops, I need to disconnect. Oh no, that's correct. That's correct. And then I click again, claim airdrop. I have another token. So this is the problem, right? This is a common problem for things like airdrops and anything where there's where anyone's using a wallet integration only and no kind of other form of authentication that I could I could create a script and spin up 1,000 of these wallets, right? And if you add a captcha, that's a good way of checking against it, protecting against it, and will work for some cases. But for high value targets, you really need something more secure. So we're going to add Civic Pass to that. So let me jump into the code. Actually, the other link I will send out is this one.
Oi, almost solo ball mid. King's Rocket kill Smith, go on, do it, Super.
Someone needs to go on mute, I think.
Go on, fire it. Kill the MDK. Yeah, blocked by list on maybe fires in. Onto his life.
Thanks. All right, so let's jump into the code now. So there's only a few places where you need to change your app. I've got a simple front-end app here. The first thing I'm going to do is create a new component that well, first thing I'm going to do is import the library. So let me go into the app here and yarn add Civic Solana Gateway React. So this is the front-end library for Civic Pass. And this is a React context. So we're going to create a new component that basically makes the Civic Pass information available to your app. I try and do this all from memory. Hope it works. So, okay, so we're going to do export. We're going to create a new Civic Pass provider. And the Civic Pass provider, thank you, is going to return the provider that's provided by that library. So that's called Gateway Provider. You don't need to take notes. This is all in the docs, by the way. Let's see if it's already imported it. There we go. And this takes three things, basically three things. The first thing is the wallet that tells us which user is connected. The connection to the blockchain. And then it also takes the pass type. And the pass type is basically just a string. I have that somewhere. Let me just kind of find it. One sec. We're going to use uniqueness pass. And this string is available if you go through our onboarding process in the documentation. So if you click through to get the particular pass type, this will be a public pass. So if you recall, Titus mentioned the difference between a public pass and a private pass. This is a public one that anyone can use. It's not custom to your particular app. Okay, so these go in here, not uniqueness pass. This one's called Gatekeeper Network. There we go. And then the other thing is, because we're going to be testing on DevNet, we're going to put in cluster equals DevNet in here. Okay. I think that's probably everything in here. Just make it a bit neater. All right. Let's import all those. Okay, so now we just have to add that to our providers here. It should go. I've got this airdrop provider, which is giving me the information about like actually making the API calls. But I won't talk about that too much in this call, I don't think. Provider goes in here between the two. Usually, that's app specific. It'll depend on your particular use case. All right, and now basically our app, which is in here, knows about Civic Pass. So I'm going to start this up again, yarn dev, and nothing will have changed yet. But what I can do is I can add a button that will let you get the pass if you don't have it. And this button also doubles as an indicator of whether you have the pass or not. And because we've already added the context, this is super easy. We just have to we just import it, identity button. This comes from the library. And then let me just go to the page, see if we've slide it up. We've got to press enter. Oh, and I think I forgot some very important thing here that would give me an error otherwise. Use client, because we're on a next app. So that's what that error was, I guess. Yeah, that's what that error was. All right. Okay, so you can see it's got this button here. It says collecting. I think I need to refresh here. So I think it's actually yeah, so now I'm no longer in localhost mode. I want to switch. This only works when you're actually on a real network, right? So I've set it to cluster DevNet, but I need to just go back here and move this out of local net mode. So we're no longer in localhost, and I'm also going to change. I think I have an environment variable here. All right, let me just start up this again so that I don't confuse the app. Okay. Good. So, I mean, excuse the the quality of the UI here, but you can see what's been added here is this button, and it says active, which matches what we saw in in here, right? When I was connected here. Basically, this wallet has the pass. It's not great UI let's say it's not great styling, so let's maybe clean that up a little bit. I think I added some classes already here, so I can pass those in. App Civic button, I think I called it. And app button to match all the others. Pretty sure I got that right. Okay, slightly better. I need to connect my wallet again. I must say the app's being a little bit slow. I don't know whether that's DevNet or what's going on there. Okay, there we go. Right, so now it looks a little bit nicer. And then there's other things you can do here as well. So you can, for example, this claim airdrop button, we can, instead of you just having the UI component here, we can, for example, have that be disabled if you don't have a pass, right? So you can have, let's say we disable it if the state is pass active. And if that's false, then we'll disable the button. Then we can go up here and go const gateway. So I think it's called gateway status. Let's use gateway and import that as well. And then we can go is pass active equals gateway state. I think it should be gateway status.active. There we go. Now you have this nice feature where if I wasn't on a wallet that had a pass, it would disable. Oh, now, damn it! I have to get my password. While I'm getting this password out, any questions so far? check on the chat, see if anyone's posted anything.
Nothing yet.
All right, nice. So switch wallets again. Sorry, I said I was going to switch wallets. Okay, I guess this should be disabled, but I'm not sure why that isn't disabled yet. I think I'm having a bit of trouble reloading. But I think you get the gist. The other, that's basically how you integrate. However, people that are paying attention will realize that this isn't really doing much other than adding this disabled button here or disable flag to the button isn't sufficient for ensuring that your app doesn't get botted, because you're going to be somebody could just cheat, right? So what you really need is a smart contract integration. I've got a bit more time, so if there aren't any questions about the front end integration, I'm probably going to move on now to the smart contract integration and show how you set that up. But please interrupt me because if there are any questions about the front, normally a front end integration is that's quite a lot of customers want, and then they often will check, for example, the pass status on the back end. There are libraries that you have for that as well. But the real power of this comes in when you integrate it with a smart contract. And we do have integrations with some of the smart contracts or programs on Solana, like Metaplex Candy Machine has a Candy Guard that integrates it, and Realms also. But if you wanted to add it to your own, then strap in, because we're going to do that next. Okay, so let's do that next. The program is in here, and it's quite a simple one in that, well, it's simple if you know what you're looking at. So it has two, I'm actually going to switch to Rust IDE. So we have two functions that we can call, initialize and claim. And initialize creates a new airdrop, basically, and then claim claims the airdrop. And what we want to avoid, we already have some functionality in here, I believe, that ensures that the user can't claim to multiple. Yeah, we have some kind of implicit functionality here that prevents them from claiming to multiple times on the same wallet, in that we create this thing called a ticket. And this ticket is set as init. If you know Anchor, then you know what this means. It means it'll create this account when you make the call. So this is a very simple way of ensuring that you can't call this twice with the same wallet, because it's derived from the recipient's wallet, and it will fail to create it the second time around. But that doesn't prevent, like I said, people from spinning up multiple wallets. So to prevent that, you need to add Civic Pass integration here on your smart contract as well. So the first part of that is to add the dependency inside your cargo toml. So that would be Solana gateway, and then the version is, I think, yep. And then you need to add no entry point feature. And then we're going to use it in here. So we're going to define which Civic Pass we want on the airdrop. In our case, we are adding the uniqueness pass. And then we're going to check for it when the user makes the claim function. That's the basic idea. So let me just do that now. So inside the initialize, I'm going to pass in another field here. Pass type, and I'm going to store it inside here. And that has to then go inside this airdrop account here. What this is basically saying, I have to also increase the size of the airdrop account now. What this is basically saying, an airdrop will use this particular pass type that's stored in here and decided when the person creates it up here. Okay. And then when we make the claim, we need to pass in an instance of the pass. So the field that don't know why that didn't work. When we make the claim, one of the accounts that we pass in is going to be the pass itself. And this is going to be of type unchecked because it's going to be checked by our program. So we have to put this comment in to tell Anchor that. Okay, so I hope you're with me so far. The pass type for the airdrop, in other words, uniqueness pass, is defined here as defined here on initialize and stored in the airdrop struct. Then when somebody makes a claim, we're going to pass in their pass, and then the smart contract will check that pass is valid. In other words, it's the right type, it's owned by the right person, and it has not expired or been revoked or frozen. So we're going to do this in here just before we actually mint the tokens. There is actually an anchor hook, now that I think about it. There's an anchor hook that makes this a lot easier, but it hasn't been published yet. So we need to publish that. It will make it a lot easier. But right now, here's how you do it. So basically, there's a library called. So we basically get it out of the context first. So accounts, pass. And then we make a call to the gateway library. And this takes the pass from here, takes the recipient, takes the pass type, which comes from the airdrop field, and this is, I think, yeah, that's correct. And then it takes additional options, which we don't have. Okay, and I just need to add. For some reason it wasn't loading the crates, but now it's loading the crates. That should go. Okay. So I don't know why that's red, but I'm not going to worry about that now. I've been messing around with my cache a little bit. That should be it. Let's see if it builds. All right, I've got some. Oh yeah, we need to. There's one other thing we need to do here, which is if it fails, we need to map the error. So we need to basically turn it into a program error. So I'm going to just do this really quickly. Okay. If I've missed something, okay, I've got the name here wrong, I think. It's not in airdrop, it's in the recipient itself. Okay, that feels good. And then the final thing that I will mention before I finish up, well, assuming this does indeed compile, is then how to wire the two together. So we've added the UI component to the front end, we've made the changes to the program, and then we just need to have our API calls changed to reference that. We have to reference this pass. So going back into the app for a second, we've got these functions in here. The most important one is claim, and this is the one that actually calls our claim function. So basically what we're going to be doing is putting the pass in here. That's the thing that basically wires those two together. So what I first want to do is get that it would fail here if it didn't get the pass. The type would fail. The type checker would fail. So that's what I want to do first. So I want to go in here and get the compiled IDL or program definition and put these in here into my types folder. And that way, if I go back then to my claim, then once the type checker is caught up, it will fail because it's now expecting a pass type that it's a pass that it's not getting, right? So I will add that in. And we just need to get this in, pass this in. I'm gonna do this passing it in this way. If you were on just because this is using what's called a server action in Next.js, if this was being called from the front end, you could use the hook. And indeed, that's what I'm going to do in a moment. But right now, I'm passing it in as a string to this backend function, basically. And then just turning it into a public key. I haven't bothered to do any validation here, but you should do validation. Okay, and then I'll just show you briefly where we call this. So as I mentioned, I have this airdrop provider. An airdrop provider has this claim action. This claim action is now expecting a pass type or a pass field. So I'm going to pass this in, and we get this from the hook. So it was called use gateway, and the pass is called gateway token in here. I'm just going to pass this in here. It's a public key. Right. If there's no gateway token, we shouldn't try to do the airdrop. So I can check this in here. Let's change the error message. It's going to call it pass. Okay. And that all wires up. So let me see if it works. I need to do that. I'm pointed again to DevNet and use the correct version of the program because I've deployed that program already to DevNet. So I just need to use that one and switch this back to the one that it should read. 1 second. I have this here. Okay. Don't worry about seeing the secret key. This is a DevNet only key. Okay, so let me see now. I go back to my WebStorm and fire up the app. I'd actually be pretty pleased if this works first time. Let's see how we get on. Okay, so actually I remember now that I have to create a new airdrop because I've already claimed my ticket for the old one. So I'm going to create a new one. I have a script in here for doing that. So bear with me 1 more second. I need to switch to there, DevNet, and then I should just be able to run it. Let's see. No, I made a mistake. I might not struggle too long with this if I don't remember how to do create the new airdrop because I think it would be more efficient if I were to just answer questions. I need to put the pass type in here, I think. So let me go back to my app. Get the pass type out. Because if you remember, we said that now when we're initializing a new airdrop, we have to specify the pass type that we want. So let me put this in here. Which field is it? It's after the mint. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so I created a new instance of that airdrop smart contract. Let me throw it into the environment variables here and then restart my app just to avoid any confusion. If I've forgotten something else and this doesn't work, I'm just going to leave it and answer questions because I think that's probably more important. Let me start the page here. Okay, so on this particular wallet, I don't have a pass, but on the other wallet I do. Let me switch to it. Active, claim airdrop. Let's see if it works. Okay, that one worked. I think if I click it again, it should fail. Yeah. And then if I were to disconnect and go to my other wallet, it will fail here, or it would fail. If I'm not going to go through it now, it would fail here. I still don't know why that isn't grayed out. It should be grayed out. I've definitely got some kind of issue there. But this would fail because of the reason that I showed you right at the start, that I can't get a pass on this while I still have a pass on my old wallet. In this particular case, the uniqueness pass. But even if it did, even if I disable that in the UI, it would fail in the back end because I don't have a pass, and that's the most important thing there. Okay, this button is actually disabled. It's just a CSS thing. It's not doing anything, as you can see. I can make that a bit more. No, I think I'll leave it. Okay, so that's the demo. I want to just briefly summarize the most important parts. Is the gateway provider from Civic Solana Gateway React is what gives your front end access to the information about the user with regards to a particular pass type. So if you so this is the same code. Let me make it a little bit neater. This is the same code you would use for all different passes, whether it's a global public pass or whether it's a private pass that you need for your particular use case. And the only difference here would be the key that you pass in here that you get from us. Once you have that in place, and you then anywhere you need it in your app, you can gain access to the pass status using this use gateway hook. And you can create the widget that shows up on your page that guides the user through getting the particular pass is available through this identity button, or you can trigger it. Actually, one thing I do want to show is, let's say you can see we've got two buttons here. Let's say that instead of having two buttons, you just wanted this to switch to get verified. Let me try this. Let's say that if you, it might struggle if this isn't working the way it should, but let's see how we go. So let's say that if you have, let's say we have an on click, and that on click will be, if the pass is active, it's going to do claim. And if the pass isn't active, we want to trigger getting the pass. There's another callback in here called request gateway token. And you can just do that. So now we actually don't need the identity button. The identity button is still useful because it still tells you your pass status, but you could instead just have it all in your button. And let me change this to, there we go. Let's say get verified in here so it matches. Whoops, I already have that. And then we don't need the identity button. And unless I've made a mistake, I need to fix at least some caching issue there. Doesn't like it when I comment it out. Okay, so now we have, this is just your button, get verified. And if you click this, it will bring up the gate. I think there's something wrong with this is pass active. It's not correctly doing that. But in principle, I've made some mistake here that I don't know. But in principle, this is the idea here. That okay, it's possibly undefined. I doubt that. But okay, I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I think you get the general idea here that it will bring up the iframe regardless of which type of iframe it is. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Before I finish, just want to let you know, we have a Discord. So if you are integrating and you have any questions about how to integrate, then the best thing to do is join our Discord and ask questions in the developer group. Titus had already mentioned the various different pass types. I've focused a lot on uniqueness and the face scan here, but a lot of our customers are looking for identity verification. that uses a kind of a scans a document and then extracts the information out of it, and that information is available to your dApp as well through a backend channel. There's lots of different other possible use cases for this. So it'd be great to let your imagination run wild and see what you build out of it. Are there any questions right now?
Guys, do you have any questions? Yeah. So really, really cool stuff. Thanks, Titus. Thanks, Dan. I believe I was able to experience a KYC of some sort via Civic. So just forgot the dApp. But anyway, really, really cool stuff. I guess it's a bit overwhelming at this point, at least for our audience. But it's really a good starting point and reference for us and future devs looking at integrating Civic in their projects. So really, really, really thankful for sharing your time tonight or today at your side of the world. I do have some clarifications myself. So is it safe to say that to fully appreciate Civic sort of protections, do we need to implement both front end and smart contract integrations?
It depends on your use case. So in the Solana community, a lot of Web3 apps don't really have their own smart contracts, but they leverage existing ones. And so that like I said, we do have integrations with things like Metaplex. But if you have a backend, a lot of our customers have backends that they want to gate with Civic Pass. And so I haven't gone through this in the demo, but basically the flow is very similar. You integrate it into your front end, and that's mainly to give the users the ability to create the pass, right? Do you want to, just the same way as you integrate something like Auth0 to make it easy for someone to log in with Google or whatever, you integrate Civic Pass to make it easy for people to verify their identity. Once you do that, then your backend comes into play, and there are tools that basically let your backend query the blockchain. Like Titus said, I didn't really go into it in too much detail here, but these are soul-bound tokens that are attached to the wallet. So that one of the benefits of that is you can just use the blockchain to verify people. So your backend basically then makes a call to the blockchain to check the status of that person's wallet, and then either approve or deny or allow or reject the request on your backend. But yeah, so those are basically the three parts: the front end integration, the back end integration, and the smart contract integration.
Hey Dan, there was a question earlier whether this is for React only or not.
It's definitely easier with React. We do have some integrations that aren't using React, but they require a little bit more hand holding at the moment. Those libraries that you see are React focused, but there are other ones. I'll just type one in the chat. Solana Gateway TS that will allow you to retrieve the status of the pass on non-React front ends as well. It's just that button that shows the iframe that's very React focused right now, and that will take some hand holding to help you integrate in a non-React app.
Yeah, cool stuff. Another thing is, I think we see emerging SVM chains like Eclipse or those SVM, I don't know, layer 2s, layer 1s. Will Civic be eventually supporting those chains as well, or are you going to stick to just Solana at the moment?
Yeah, it's very exciting. We're talking to some of those SVM chains, and but I think it's very likely that we'll be supporting them in the future. I'll let you know. We don't have a date yet, but if there are people in your community that are particularly working on those chains, then it'll be a good idea to get involved in the conversation there on Discord.
All right. Yeah, definitely we'll join the Discord. Guys, do you have any other questions? Because if there's none, I'll wrap it up. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, if there's any after this session, I'll shoot you the message, Dan and Titus. Again, in behalf of the Super Team Philippines community, we're thankful that you've shared your time today with us, and yeah, really looking forward for projects from our community to be integrated with Civic as well. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having us.
I appreciate the invite 100%. I shared the Discord link on the chat as well. So, yeah. looking forward to talking to you guys in the future as well.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Thank you.
Bye for now.